You are making the world a better place by listening to the Joy of Living podcast. This is your guide to achieving a more purposeful, powerful, and positive life. Join Barry Shore in unlocking the best version of you and becoming happier, healthier, and wealthier. And now, here's your ambassador of joy, Barry Shore.
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. And remember, you're good-looking because you're always looking for and finding the good. And we have good in abundance, good overflowing, because you have consciously and conscientiously chosen to tune into the Joy of Living with your humble host, Barry Shore. And you are joined at this very moment by over 348,000 people around the world who have chosen to tune into the Joy of Living for one reason and one reason only. It's the best reason, because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. And that's wonderful, because when you become the best you make the world a better place. When you're the best you build bridges of harmony. You create more joy, happiness, peace, and love in the world. And that's what we need right now. There's a joy deficit in the world, and we are all here, each single one of us, to create a joy surplus in the world. And you can do it because you here have tuned in to learn about the three fundamentals of life. And we discuss them on the show. And with our amazing guest today, who brings together some of the most powerful elements in the world to bring you the ability to become happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? And it all begins with understanding the three fundamentals of life. And these three fundamentals are, number one, life. Your life has purpose. And when you lead a purpose-driven life, number two happens. And this is a good number two. You go mad. MAD stands for make a difference. And number three, the third of the three fundamentals of life, is to unlock the power and the secrets of everyday words and terms. Simplest example, WWW. What does WW stand for? Ask anybody, and invariably the title has to do with the internet. And factually speaking, they're correct. But in our world, the world of the positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, WWW stands for, drum roll, fanfare, da-dun, da-da. What a wonderful world. And what is a word, right? W-H-A-T-A. What a wonderful world. And whenever you hear the opening bars of that song, you can't help but smile. And thank you to Louis Armstrong, Satchmo, for enabling that song to go viral and touch not just tens of millions or hundreds of millions, but billions of people around the planet. And you hear the song, what do you do right away? You smile. You can't help it. Now, smile is one of the most important words you could ever utilize, internalize, and leverage in your life, because smile stands for seeing miracles in life every day. Seeing miracles in life every day. Now, invariably, when I'm speaking to people just before COVID, and by the way, thank God COVID's going away. We won't even remember it in another year or two. It's gone. It's over. It's all panic and just illusion. We'll blow it away. But I was speaking to just before COVID to a group of about 5,200 people in the audience. And I'm telling the story about Barry Shore, and I'm talking about smile, seeing miracles in life every day. And people raise their hand and say, hey, Barry Shore, I've been up for hours where I haven't seen any miracles. And I asked them, are you here? Can you hear? Can you see? Can you stand? I can't. Can you walk? I can barely do that. Do you have water to drink, food to eat, place to sleep, family, friends? Every single one of those is a miracle. And what's the simple proof? Simple as proof. 1 million people didn't get out of bed this morning. You know why? They died. By definition, if you're watching this or listening to it, you didn't. And therefore, you have an obligation to live life to the full, to live life exuberantly. Now, speaking of life, imagine the following: standing up in the morning, hale and hearty, able to leap tall buildings in a single bound, and that night being in the hospital, totally, completely paralyzed. And it was not from an automobile accident. It was not a spinal injury. I had a rare disease that I never heard of the day before, took over my body and rendered me a quadriplegic. Nothing on my body moved. 144 days in the hospital. I was 2 years in a hospital bed in my own home. I couldn't turn over by myself. I had 4 years in a wheelchair. I had braces on both my legs from my hips to my ankles for a couple of years, and that was progress. Thank God today I'm able to be vertical and ambulatory with the help of a 7-foot walking wand, but I still can't walk up a stair by myself. I can't walk up a curb by myself. And I've helped 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. But you hear my voice. Positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant. It's all because of one word. Smile. Seeing miracles in life every day. I can tell you a quick story. My 8-year-old niece comes over to me a few weeks ago and says, Uncle Barry, can we spell smile S-M-I-E-L? And I thought about it. Smile sounds the same. Why not? I asked her, how come? She says, because then it would stand for seeing miracles in everyday life. Out of the mouth of babes, an 8-year-old. But what was she doing? She was creating the kind of world she wants to live in. Now, create is an amazing word that stands for causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Neuro-linguistic programming. We all thank God you have a brain. Your brain has over 100 billion brain cells and more than 120 trillion synapses connecting all those brain cells. And they're there for more than deciding what kind of latte you want this morning. The ability to choose in life. These are the 6 most important words you'll ever hear. Utilize them, leverage them, internalize them. Choice, not chance, determines your destiny. And we're going to talk about that with our amazing guest today. And I just want to warn you in advance, though, that your humble host does use 4-letter words. I use a lot of 4-letter words. I even use the 4-letter FU word, and I do it because of the shock value when it's fun. But the 4-letter words, of course, that we use, because we live in the world of positive, purposeful, powerful, and pleasant, the 4-letter words we use are love, life, hope, grow, free, gift, play, pray, swim. 4-letter words. And the 4-letter FU word is fun. Fun, yes. F-U, capital N, capital N. So after the show, when you see your family and your friends, and you have a twinkle in your eye and a smile on your face, and whatever that stands for, you're going to plug your finger and say, F-U, everybody. But remember to add right away, capital N, capital N. I said, what are you talking about? Where'd you get that? I said, I listened to Barry Shore on the joy of living, and he wants to teach the world to F-U. Capital N, capital N. Now, but I've got to mention to you that our guest has so much to share. You don't have to write it down. You don't have to remember anything. Just lean in and let it flow through you and around you so it can transform you. And just go to my website, barryshore.com, and all the information about our amazing guests will be there. Just go to barryshore.com and all the information will be there. But before we bring him on, just a minute or so, I want to urge everybody to do the following. I would like you to use the 2 most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously and conscientiously from now and the rest of your life. Because when you do this, you're going to change your whole being for the better, that of your family, your friends, and by definition, all living beings on the planet. When you use these 2 words consciously and conscientiously 3 times a day, and they are, thank you, thank you, thank you. Thanks stands for to harmonize and network kindness. To harmonize and network kindness. The Dalai Lama has been quoted as saying, I read in his writings, be kind whenever possible. And he said, it's always possible. Now, just imagine we're going back to our coffee shops, no mask, forget the pandemic. You walk in, you order your fancy latte for $5, you sit down, somebody brings it to you. You say, thank you. Walk into the coffee shop, order your fancy latte, you sit down, a few minutes go by, nobody brings it to you. You go to the counter and say, oh, I'm sorry, we forgot, we're so busy, we'll bring it to you. You sit down, a couple of minutes go by and somebody brings it, you still say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out. Somebody holds the door open for you. You say, thank you. You're walking out of the coffee shop, it's raining out, somebody slams the door on you. You say, thank you. You're stuck in traffic, you're late for an appointment, somebody cuts you off and you say, thank you. You get up to the middle of the night, you stub your toe and it hurts. You say, thank you. To harmonize and network kindness. Kind stands for keep inspiring noble deeds. I can't think of anybody that I want to share with you at the moment that does inspire noble deeds other than the amazing, the wonderful, the almost immortal AZD. AZD, come and say hello to 352,823 people around the world.
Hello, joy of living and joy of everything. I'm very thankful to be here. Thank you for having me on this show.
To harmonize and network kindness. By the way, AZD, when was the last time somebody said F you to you and you laughed?
Then I laughed when they said F you to me. I don't
Just
remember.
now. I remember I
that
said
ever
F
happening.
you, capital N, because that's what it's all about. It's fun.
Well, in your world, that's what FU stands for. In my world, it stands for go take a hike.
Yeah, but the hike is a good thing because hike brings us to wholly inspirational, kind exuberance.
Oh, man, I'm going to like talking to you, man.
Okay, so let's just jump right in. I'm going to give you a little bit of the background about AZD because if I started telling everything, it would take up the rest of the hour. So let's just go and jump in a few pieces. Number one, AZD are the initials of his name. So we're not going to go into it deep because those who know him know him. He has a worldwide fanatical following, and the reason is because
Hold
of his
on.
eyes.
What does fanatical stand for before you go further? Since you're so good
fanatical.
Well,
fanatical is a long form of the word fan, and fan stands for fabulous, amazing, never giving up world.
Okay,
That's
we'll
a fan. So you can see it in his eyes. You see, AZD mesmerizes with his eyes. He considers himself a martial artist. And I want to emphasize the artist part because that's really what he is. At the tender age of 3 years old, this is what he told me. And I actually believe him because I see his energy. AZD told me that at the age of 3, he envisioned himself being or channeling the essence of Bruce Lee. In other words, not being Bruce Lee, but being himself and channeling that energy and recognizing that the energy of Bruce Lee was not to beat up all the opponents, but was to be able to master oneself so you could become so fulfilled that your cup overflows. That's what fulfilled means. It's filling up, fulfilling, overflowing, and therefore allowing others to sip, taste, and drink of that great wine. Wine stands for winners inspire never-ending enthusiasm, and that's you. Wow. So I want to jump right in and talk to you right away, amazingly wonderful AZD. And let's fast forward from 3 years old to where you are now. You were born in a place, another time and space, Tehran, Iran, before the revolution. You were able to escape with your family, and through living in many different places throughout the world, by the age of 11, you came to the United States of America, but in the middle of America, in Nebraska, where they don't have a lot of tattoos or they don't have a lot of piercings. And you fit in, but you didn't, because your energy was such that you knew you wanted to become the being that was going to channel the Bruce Lee idea to the world. So let's just jump right in and let you speak and tell us, what is AZD all about in enabling people to become better communicators, more confident, more strong, more accomplished in life?
Well, thank you for that. I would say that first and foremost, I don't consider myself a martial artist. I consider myself a communicator. My biggest hat in life is a communicator. I'm a communicator, and that is what I do best. Now, martial arts is a form of communication. And I liked Bruce Lee because Bruce Lee was, in his own words, he said, take what is useful, discard what is useless, and add your own flavor to it and make it yours. And so that's the spirit of Bruce Lee, was a spirit of efficiency, of understanding, of philosophy, of the Tao, the way of the Taoist philosopher. And so I was very attracted to that because it seemed that a man of 135 pounds, even though I was very young to be able to tell the difference, but you could tell he was smaller on TV than everybody else. But like you said, his energy, his presence, his eyes, it was something so captivating as a child. And I knew that there was a power there that needed to be expressed that was also in me. It was not something that I was searching for. It was something that I recognized in myself when I saw it in him. And I began to live that life, you could say, as a very young child, seeing myself as somebody who had the expression of, Bruce Lee was called Little Dragon. And so I always thought of myself as some sort of a mythical creature, not necessarily a dragon. Because I thought Bruce Lee was a dragon, it was time for something else. So I created my own.
So let's unpack this a little bit, because I think you're touching on so many wonderful points, and we have so many people texting in and saying, "Wow, this guy is amazing! I want to hear more." And by the way, from all over the world, thank God we have listeners from China, from India, so cool. From Australia, throughout Africa, Europe, obviously the United States, Latin America. And what AZD mentioned is right. His skill, as it were, is as a communicator. He's the big C. He's a communicator. And I want to go to the point that you mentioned about recognition. He recognized. See, because cognition means to think. Recognition means you literally got in touch with who your essence is. And once you recognized your essence, you were able to begin to blossom. Now, you did it through something called martial arts. We're going to talk about also the ability to be in movies and these kinds of things, and the ability to teach other people. And the greatest form of teaching, as you know, because that's what we've discussed before, of communication, is by example. And I want to touch right now on something you mentioned, in the ability to use every major powerful, positive, purposeful, pleasant pathway that exists in the world, such as the Tao, such as Zen, such as movies, such as speech, such as touch, tickle. AZD was tickling me before the show, even though it was over the webinar. He was tickling me. And the ability to communicate with your very presence is something I'd like you to go a little deeper, because it's something that I think you do with the, thank God, hundreds and hundreds of people around the world that you influence and teach. So let's go deeper into this idea of communication through example.
Well, that's a good point. Example is visible. So we're observing me communicate right now. And I believe that communication is blocked so much growing up because of our own miscommunications. The adults around us, they miscommunicate. I'm trying to get the camera angle here properly. Okay. And so the process of communicating, becoming a better communicator, is understanding that the basic truth you hold is good enough. In fact, it is what is required of you as a being to communicate the pure, honest observation you're having from that point in space, so that I can also report my pure observation from where I'm at and the experiences I've had. If I tell you exactly what I have seen and heard and know and concluded without any change in it, and you do the same, and so does he and so does she, then we can put our points of view together and begin to understand God, or the point of view that would be all points of view. However, when one violates this by observing something, then stating some other factor, we've now engaged upon a very interesting game. It's a game still, but it's a game of saying something. It's a game of illusion. And life consists of that. It's okay to have illusions, as long as we're aware that we're creating the illusions. You could say after a while, we got lost in our own illusions, and then they became delusions. And after a while, we're lost in all what everybody said and what everybody did, and we forget our own orientation point, where we come from. And so the first teaching here really is simple. Just recognize that you exist as much as anything else that you admire in this universe. If you love the trees, and if you love the birds, and if you love lions and eagles, and anything in God's nature, the stars, you pick your favorite miracle. And I want you to know that you exist as much as that, if not more. And there's a reason why I say that. I hold humankind as the highest intelligence that we've seen so far. Of course, I believe that the universe is so vast and there must be life forms above us. But on Earth, without a doubt, our consciousness is so amazing compared to everything else, that if we appreciate all so easily, we first have to look in the mirror and begin to appreciate the miracle that we are. And then when I see that, then I see you. And when I see you, I see me. And now we're engaged in the game of the human spirit, which is where we should start this game.
So let's just jump high. You just heard the dragons speak. You see, because what a dragon is, some people think of dragon, they're conjuring up something scary and fire-breathing and harmful. On the contrary, the dragon, first of all, can be tamed. That's number one, channeled. And number two, you control the dragon, because you know what the dragon does? It has only one purpose in life: to protect the treasure. You know what the treasure is? As AZD just said it, the treasure is the ability to look in the mirror, see yourself, and recognize that you are pure consciousness and that you and me are not separate at all. There is no separation between us.
We are unique. We are uniquely individual, the way the limbs of an octopus are individual limbs, and they suffer their own pain, but they're connected to the same source. So we're not necessarily separate, but we are separated by time and space.
Right. Exactly. Again, this is the genius of working with and listening to AZD. I'll tell everybody his first name is, he was given at birth, Arash.
Arash, Zapar, D-Bazar. All three names fit accordingly. Perfectly.
Right. D-Bazar. He could be Bazar or Bazar.
D-Bazar actually means one who weaves with golden words. One
who does what?
Weaves with golden words.
Well, I think you were named appropriately, sir.
I think so too.
Okay, so communication, you see, is the essential first step in recognition of self. And I'd like to share with you my acronym for self. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Because for you, it's the higher, there's two. There's the lower self and the higher self, but you're the higher self. So higher self stands for recognizing you are a soul experiencing life fully.
Nice.
That's what you are. Like when you begin to, now the lower self, by the way, and everybody has to go through this to get the higher self. The lower self is seeking excitement, losing focus.
Wow, that's good.
Right. Because if that's, you goof and this and that, yeah, come on, let's go, yeah. But recognizing you're a soul experiencing life fully, you do what Arash told us in the beginning. Forget the useless, get rid of parent, and then get to the purity. So I love your language of pure, honest you, and smash the illusions and recognize that, just like you said, 2 fingers on the hand or 5 fingers, all separate, but all part and connected. That's who we are. There is no such thing as one human being. Excuse the expression. I don't even like using the word, but in quotation marks, hating another human being. That's like saying, you know something? I don't like my right index finger. I'm going to get rid of it. Mm-hmm. That's kind of dumb. Mm-hmm. And what the beauty of AZD is, he weaves together relationships with the hundreds and hundreds of people that he works with and channels and enables them to become masters throughout the world. So they recognize that they are now touching all of humanity, all of eternity, by integrating the teachings that he's sharing with us. So let's go deeper into our situation of communication, because that's the first step to building relationships. Am I correct on that?
Yes, communication is the bridge between one infinite self and another. And there's no way I can know you, but communication can get me very close to it.
So that was beautiful. So, like we said in the beginning of my show, mentioned to everybody, there's only one reason people have tuned in today, Arash. I mean, they love me, but okay, why not? And they wanted to hear AZD. But really, the only reason they're here is because they care about themselves. And that's great, because you see, when you care about you enough to become the best you, then you build bridges and create more harmony in the world, just as he said. That is the genius of what AZD is delivering today. He just told us in a few words that the genius of relationship is communicating, is the bridge between one infinite being and another. And then once that bridge is built, nothing can stop it from resonating throughout the world. There is no force, no power in the world strong enough to contain it or stop it. And that's what you do in life, isn't it, AZD?
Yes. Well, let's think of it like this. Any government would tell you that A man who has the freedom to speak and with the words is much more dangerous than a man with a gun. And for that reason, governments ban free speech, and that's how they begin to dismantle the population. A man who could speak freely can move the world. A man who can speak is the most dangerous man on the planet. He's much more dangerous than any gun or any weapon, because he who could speak can affect minds. And if you can affect the mind, you affect the universe. It's a mental universe.
By the way, not only is AZD utilizing words to their force exponentially, but he was born in a place where speech is not only regulated, it is utilized as a weapon against people. Mm-hmm. And that force is what we call malign. There's a 4-letter word for it called evil. But the genius of the word evil, by the way, AZD, you're going to like this, is that when you read the word evil backwards, it spells live.
Yeah.
So that's what AZD does in life. He is here to transform and show you that evil is an illusion. And when you read it the other way, it spells live. And that's really what he's about. Am I correct on that?
You're correct in the fact that one energy can be transmuted and changed into another energy. That's called alchemy. And we see that the moment that we take any food. If I take a banana and I eat it, the banana goes in and immediately alchemizes into the different parts of my body. So we can visibly see the sunlight in the tree, the water. We see alchemy take place. And energy, that's energy. And so what we call evil could be misaligned energy, as you said, or disharmonious energy. And it does exist, but it needs to be transmuted and changed, just like the flower or the seed is inside the fertilizer, and it uses all of this stuff in the fertilizer to grab the nutrients, but it also needs sunlight and water. So if we're just in the mire, we're just in the depths of the mess, and we don't have enough the light, which would be compassion or love is the representation of the sunlight, and water would be understanding and knowledge and wisdom. So we have the sunlight, which is the warmth, the compassion and love. Understanding as knowledge and wisdom is distilled, one then takes the place one finds oneself in and draws from the elements around him, from the good and the bad, and extracts the minerals needed for his own or her own blossoming, which is literally, we can see what I said in the seed, and it's called as above, so below. It's one of the laws of alchemy. And we see this.
I'm saying, can you repeat that again? One of the laws of alchemy is?
One of the laws of alchemy is as above, so below. The first law of alchemy is it's a mental universe. We went over that. Then it's a vibrational universe, that everything is moving in vibrations. And if we know that energy is vibrating. And so there's different types of energy, disharmonious energy, harmonious energy. And alchemy is the science and the art of taking one energy, as we see the body alchemizes food and things like that, and transmuting, changing it from one form into another form of fuel, and extracting and getting rid, as the body does, of the toxic waste, so it can recycle and go back and come into the world again. We see this everywhere.
We see it, and we don't. One of the reasons I am blessed to have AZD with us today is because he helps open the eyes. See, there are people who have eyes but don't see. People have ears but don't hear, right? The ability to open one's eyes, one's ears, one's heart to the truths that you are mentioning right now is really the key. And it's what we call shift happens. Now, it's an interesting thing, AZD. Most people, when they pronounce the word shift, I don't know why, but they drop the F. And they don't pronounce it shift happens. They say the other stuff, and it creates all kinds of different, but it's shift that happens. By the way, I think you might like this one. Love is a 4-letter word, and love stands for living on vibrating energy.
Wow, that's good.
Living on the vibrational plane is what you talked about, right? We and I, you and I, and all the people listening, hundreds of thousands of people around the world. And by the way, I urge everybody, share this with 5 people. I didn't say 50 or 100. You can do that too, but 5 people. And then we'll have over 1.5 million people listening to, hearing, feeling the vibrations of the amazing AZD. I call them the amazing, zestful, determined being. That's AZD. Amazing, zestful, determined. That's who you are, what you're doing. You're here to transmute and enable people to be transformed by living on the vibrational plane. Keep on your seatbelts, everybody. We're coming back with more AZD right after a couple of brief messages from wonderful people. Be right back after these. Hi, everybody. You know the story of Barry Shore, standing up in the morning, hale and hearty in the evening, completely, totally paralyzed. And I was like that for several years. You can imagine the difficulties I faced mentally, not just physically. And it's the mental aspect that was the most debilitating and the most frightening. And I got to tell you, it wasn't easy to speak to somebody. And I did. I finally did. I spoke to several people over the course of a number of years, and it helped immensely. And I know that it's hard to talk about these things. By the way, did you know that suicide is the 10th leading cause of death in the United States for all ages? About 21 million American adults have a mood disorder, and especially with depression and bipolar, there's an ability to get help. That's the genius of what we're talking about here. There is help available from what's called the dbsalliance.org. I want to tell you a couple other things. Over 47,000 Americans died by suicide in 2019. Over 47,000. And middle-aged white males have the highest rate of suicide, counting for almost 70% of all deaths by suicide. On average, about 130 suicides every day. Every day. I urge you, please get involved for yourself, for a friend, for a family member, for someone you know that may have issues. I want you to go, please, to dbsalliance.org/suicide-prevention. Okay, it sounds like a lot, but I'm going to repeat it again, and you're going to hear it, you're going to see it on the screen. D as in David, B as in Barry, S as in Samuel, Alliance, dbsalliance.org/suicide-prevention, because we can prevent. Please do so now. Imagine the kind of place you would want to shop for your favorite fur baby pet. HonestPets.co. Well, you found it. HonestPets.co. Not .com, .co. This is your go-to spot for the best, the cleanest pet treats that exist anywhere on the planet. All of the brands go through a rigorous review to make sure they meet the high standards of cleanliness, health benefits, and naturalness. This site was started by a husband and wife team, and it's veteran-owned, and that care about pets, especially dogs and cats, and coming soon, bird treats. These are very nice young people who really care about making a difference, because a portion of proceeds go to support veteran organizations with a focus on service dogs. This is the place where you want to go. You want to tell your friends this has the finest, yummiest, freshest, all-natural treats and stuff for your fur baby. So go there, honestpets.co. honestpets.co. Do it now.
What did you see on it? Was it like a
Good day, beautiful, bountiful, beloved, immortal beings, and good-looking people. Remember, you're good-looking, because we're always looking for and finding the good. We have good in abundance. Our cup runneth over with good, and in the form of a two-legged being. Well, at least we think he has two legs. We only see his arms and his head and such. Two-legged being, AZD, amazing, zestful, determined being, who's here to help transmute, transform, and elevate all of us. Hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Just go to barryshore.com, and all the information about AZD will be there. We've talked about communication, building bridges. We talk about relationships, of understanding that that bridge unites one infinite soul to another infinite being. And now let's talk about business, because you're in business. Now I'm going to share with you one little idea, AZD, that I think might make you smile also. The word business is fascinating. BUSINESS, right? But you'll notice that in business, the U comes before the I. Because when the you is the reason for the business, in other words, I'm here to serve. So the you comes before the I, business will be successful. And you are. Let's talk about how you utilize and weave together, because that's your name, weaving together your understanding of communications, your genius of relationships, and building businesses that serve other people and make a difference in the world.
Man, I love business because business is like the ultimate fighting championship of the world. If you have $100 and as a consumer, the person has $100 today, they got paid. This could be a pair of Nike shoes. It could be dinner. It could be a shirt. I don't know. But this $100 now is in play in the economy. And in their world, I love to be the one to create something that when there it is, let me give you that 100, because it's so much worth more than the $100. Business to me is a natural expression of who I am. And I do businesses like that. I start a lot of businesses with the people. And the way I do that is simple. If they love what they're doing and they have the energy behind it, I'm always willing to go half and half with someone. Always. If I could afford half of the business, I'll do it. Because I can see they put in their half, I put in my half. It's not a problem. And so just like everything else, see, my life is based on philosophy. I'm a philosopher. And I believe every man and woman should be a philosopher of their own life. What makes my life smooth and admirable is that my philosophies are lined up. They're not contradicting inside of me. And I've worked very hard for this. This is more important than many, many things. I mean, I just said a statement that people should really take a look at. When you have conflicting data inside of you, you can't move. I'll give you conflicting data in business. Money is the root of all evil. Now, if you think that, you're not going to be able to make money at all. You're going to keep sabotaging yourself. So having that as an idea, then having an idea that you want to be rich and wealthy because whatever you want to help, so it doesn't matter. You're internal in conflict. And so you're putting on the brakes as you're going forward, you're really destroying the mission here. And so business, just like dancing, just like speaking, just like relationships, is nothing more than the natural expression of this being. One time my father, when I decided about 13 years ago, I remember I was sitting down watching TV at my parents' house, and I said, I've decided to start a new business teaching men and women the art of dating and going out with each other. And my dad said, what are you doing? He goes, what's wrong with you? I said, nothing. Why? He goes, why can't you just do one thing? You keep doing all this stuff. I said, Dad, first of all, everything I do is successful. But second, I said, it looks like I'm doing a bunch of things. It's the same thing. I'm doing the exact same thing. It's the same as Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, one of my teachers, said, it's the same sap that runs through the same flower that creates the branch and this and that. And the sap is the same. That's the soul. So business is an expression of self. That's all.
Well, first of all, AZD, thank you.
Thank you.
Right. Well, thank you. F-U, capital N, capital N. Fun. I want to share with you something that I unpack a little bit of what you said, because it's so, your father said to you something, and I say this with love to your father, of course, as you love him as well. He didn't get the understanding of who you are and what you do. And this is why we need
to say something in his defense, since we're speaking behind his back and he's not here. He would be the only 100% supporter of my business that I could name. That's also in his credit.
There's not a question. He wasn't
Yeah.
denigrating, and he was just he was misunderstanding that he thinks you're spreading yourself thin, and actually what you're doing is you're growing yourself exponentially. So there's a very
I just have to say that because I felt like I misrepresented him. That was for myself to say.
Yes.
That's all.
So there's a very famous book. You remember maybe you read it when you were a little kid in Nebraska, called Peanuts. Remember Peanuts, the book Peanuts? Charlie Brown.
I never liked
it. Oh, you never heard Charlie Brown? Okay, well, Charlie Brown.
No, I never liked it. I didn't like it. I hated it.
Okay, but anyway, Charlie Brown, if you ask the author of Charlie Brown and Peanuts, he wrote 97 books. 97. And people say, how'd you write 97 books? He says, I didn't. I wrote one book.
Exactly.
I just did it in 97 different ways. That's all.
Right. That's right. That's right. This is one TV show, one podcast with a million different guests, with a trillion different audiences. But the same message is going across. This is the joy of living. I get it.
It's so beautiful. But again, I want to unpack something you mentioned. It's the ability to use money, because the word money, by the way, in every language around the world has a different word sound to it, but everybody loves it. The problem, as you said, is this dichotomy in the human being. We want to be spiritually aligned. So I mentioned to people that if you ever have physical aches and pains, you go to a chiropractor, right? Say, I'm a little bit out of here. What do? They adjust you. Mm-hmm. Now, when you're aligned, you're moving freely and easily. So we need to do the same thing in spiritual alignment, what I call when your thoughts are aligned in good, and your speech is aligned in good, and your deeds are in good, then guess what? You're spiritually aligned, and you're moving freely, and everything is flowing, you're channeling, and what people call success in business is the natural result. It can't be otherwise. It has to happen. It's the law of attraction, the law of business, as you articulating view. By the way, you might like this. You know what the word law? When people hear the word law, they think, law, tough, right?
It's one of my favorite words. It's one of my favorite words.
Okay, listen what law stands for. Ready? Mm-hmm. LAW, love and wisdom.
Oh, that's nice.
I share it with you. I offer it to you. We're together, remember?
Thank you. Yeah.
This is fabulous. So let's just pick one of your businesses. Let's call it the IMC. So just give people an indication of what it is.
Oh, man, that's my soul. That's everything. IMC is everything. It originally stood for Integrated Martial Arts Concepts Academy, and it was located at 2229 Lincoln Avenue, San Jose, California. And when I say that, my inside laughs and cries at the same time for how I feel about that place. This is where it all started. I opened up a martial arts academy during the time that being called an entrepreneur wasn't even a word. I'm 44 years old right now. I opened up my business when I was 21. So that was 23 years ago. There was nothing like what it is. And anyways, martial arts. But at the end and the beginning of class, I would always give a little talk. And these talks became longer and longer. It went from 5 minutes to 10 minutes. Then I was like, whoever would like to leave. I'm going to keep talking. Well, eventually, I made a video on YouTube honoring my teacher. Now, I haven't spoken about him yet, but he's been on my mind the whole time, and I've been waiting for the right intro for him. His name was Manu Tupo. And Manu Tupo was the greatest man that I had met physically so far in my life. I had read about great men. I had heard about Buddhas. I had heard about...
Okay, let me just mention again. Martin Tupo, T-U-P-O?
Manu, it's M-A-N-U.
M-A-N-U.
Tupo, T-U-P-O-U.
T-U-P-O-U. Thank you.
And he was a Fijian. He was from Fiji and Tonga. Those were his mother and father. So Manu was the man who opened my eyes to the world of communication and the world of creation. In fact, you said the word create in the beginning. That's my very first tattoo I ever got, was the word create.
Hello, AZD.
See, it's right here on my shoulder. Yes. And it was my own hand. I had met Manu Tupo, and he had blown my mind. He had shown a young 19-year-old boy that his imagination had the ability to affect not only himself, but if he had the means to transfer that imagination through communication to any other being, he could actually affect them the way he was affecting himself. This was pure magic to me. I was literally searching my entire life for superpower that I found, and he showed it to me. And once I saw it, I knew that there's nothing else I wanted to do in my entire life besides practice my imagination and being able to communicate it outwards and affecting the world. That became the definition of abracadabra. What I speak becomes reality, or I speak it into existence, which is actually a tattoo here now on top of my head. I'm telling you that because people are fascinated by my tattoos, but they don't know I've never been to jail unless I visited my brothers, but I've never been arrested for anything yet. There's always tomorrow. Well, yes. Anyways, IMC, let's just bring it into a thing. It was Integrated Martial Arts Concepts Academy. And then one day I was watching YouTube, studying different speakers, and I really admired Mr. Louis Farrakhan. I admired the way he spoke. He spoke with the same certainty and authority and understanding in his own world that I had in my world, and I needed a role model. And I remember that he was the leader of what was known as the Black Islamic Nation, or something like that, the Black Islamic Nation. And when I heard the word nation, I came out into my staff meeting that Sunday, and I said, IMC Academy will now be known as IMC Nation. One day, worldwide, men and women are going to be using this philosophy to change the conditions of their life. I'm going to take my philosophy worldwide. And I did a video blog honoring my teacher, who had passed away about 4 years earlier. And I had been very quiet about what he taught me. I'd gone into my own shell and turned into, I created a world around me that worked, but I stopped communicating to the world about it. I made a video blog on YouTube honoring him, and the next day, emails and stuff like that. I made another video. Eventually, it became a worldwide movement to move out of 2229 Lincoln Avenue, went online, and what was the teachings in the beginning and the end of class became the major teaching. No longer the punching and the kicking was as important as these other concepts. And then it became integrated mental concepts nation. And now it's a worldwide movement of, it's actually, let me tell you what's unique about this. I only teach men. And there's a reason for this. I come from a tradition of alchemy. And I come from a place where what I have been able to demonstrate in my living is something that hasn't been done yet. And I mean, the audience is very new to me. I'm either extremely famous to the people that know me, or I'm just brand new. That's my two worlds. And I exist in my own world outside. It's called IMC Nation. I live in that. I'll see you there if you want to see me again. Right now, I'm visiting a friend. I've been invited on a show, and I'm visiting my friends. And thank you for the opportunity to be the ambassador for IMC Nation and my people, because they are my people. And that's how it runs. And when you said fanatics in the beginning, I said that because that's one of the terms that the negative media will try to use against people like myself. A cult leader, a fanatic. And I say these things because this is real life. If any man or woman seeks any sort of movement that helps others, remember what they did to Socrates, to Jesus, to Buddha, to God. We should go on and tell you that the history of the planet will let you know that the surest way to get killed is talk about something nice. Okay? And the reason the movement is so powerful is because my angle into life that nobody has is the balancing of the yin and the yang. The sun and the moon, the male and the female. This is the seventh law of alchemy that states everything in the universe is gender-based. Everything is male and female. There we go. I enter the world from this angle at this time on Earth in 2021. I can come from many angles. If you understand my knowledge, it goes very far all around. But the angle I'm entering at this time is this, because I believe this is what the world needs to balance itself out. From my perspective, the male-female dynamic has just been gone, which destroys the family unit, destroys groups, destroys compassion, destroys the beauty of the feminine and the strength of the masculine, as they're supposed to complement, not compete with each other, because it's one symbol, yin and yang. It's not a separated symbol. It's one, where are we at? It's one symbol, and we see the duality in the symbol. But as it spins around, you forget which one was the yin, which one was the yang. And you see inside each symbol is a dot of the opposite color. In fact, they've taken that out. They've taken that out, and that is a mistake. But these things are not done by accident. The evolution of information on this planet has been subjugated and perverted so that people can't find the truth. That's why everybody's searching. Very few people have anything to prove for it. The dot inside the symbol is vital, because as this, I keep missing the angle, as this symbol turns, the white dot in the black and the black dot in the white begin to expand with the spinning. And then the white becomes black, the black becomes white. This is a symbol of communication. The moment I finish speaking, I become dark, yin. You start, yang. And now I receive and you send. And when you end, and a good communication does this in the right flow, and everybody then, and this is the AC, the alternate current of the electricity, the plus and the minus, and that's where we get power, electricity. It's electrical magnetic force in the universe. In fact, love could be the quantum entanglement of electromagnetic forces between two beings. If you entangle each other in that world, you begin to sense this energy of attraction, affinity, which we call love. I'll stop here because it can keep going, right?
I want to encourage everybody to, those of you who I hope kept your seatbelts on, leaning in, to remind yourselves to watch this again when we post it, share it, because what we're doing today is to bring forth into the world the energy, the power, the positivity, the pleasantness, the purposefulness of AZD, the ambassador, and the ambassador of joy, two ambassadors sharing together. By the way, share, you might like this one, AZD. You ready? Mm-hmm. Share stands for spreading happiness and rejuvenating energy.
Oh, that's nice.
Because one of the things that's happening at this moment is, those who've been watching thus far, I think you'll notice that the energy level, as AZD was discussing his mentor, Manu, and discussing the yin and the yang, and in discussing his evolution as the dragon and the tamer, the one who rides the dragon. And as he says, abracadabra. We'll discuss another time, AZD, about, that the origin of those are Hebrew words.
Yes, it is. It's yeah.
No, you said it perfectly. As I create by as I speak. And it's important for everybody to understand that the nation that AZD leads and inhabits is, in fact, the nation called Imagination. Mm-hmm. That's who you are. By the way, the word imagine, you might like this. Imagine breaks up to becoming I'm a genie. Because you know what a genie is. Genie originates from Iran. A genie is something that makes things happen. That's who you are.
It's called I'm a Jinn nation.
Right.
We're a nation of jinns.
Right. And we is a powerful being. When you recognize and you get in touch with your jinn, you become, I think jinn may be also a form of yin, but we'll talk about that another time. So I just wanted to make mention that you were animating as you were speaking in the last 6 or 7 minutes, AZD, because you were unleashing your very essence. And it's important for people that literally the screen became that one spinning wheel of love, literally reverberating throughout. I think the essence was sent out throughout the world. Do you see me smiling right now? That's what was happening all through.
Nice.
So it's just truly wonderful. I want to recap a few things. We spoke about the three fundamentals, if we want to use a triangle, which is, of course, the most stable position of life in the world, is relationships, communication, and business. And each one of them has a focal point. But we began with communications, we moved into relationships, and then we jettisoned into business. And as AZD pointed out, it's so important to understand that business is really the essence of communication and relationships, because working in harmony, then the trading of ideas and services and products in a most gentle, loving way. We call it removing a hair from a glass of milk. That's how gentle business should be. You're not a dentist. You're not pulling teeth. You're not trying to get money from anybody. It has to be as gentle as a babe nursing at his mother's breast. That's real business. It is nourishing. It's energizing. It is filled with joy, happiness, peace, and love. So I'm going to ask you just a couple quick questions here. And can you believe it? The time has gone by very fast. So a couple of quick questions for you, wonderful AZD. You ready?
Yes, ready to go.
You have 80 seconds only to answer this. Not 3 minutes, not 5 minutes, 80 seconds.
I need 79.
What is your most fervent desire?
To be able to keep contact with the beings that I consider my loved ones for eternity, where we are aware of each other throughout any time and space and have perfect communication with each other. If I have that, I'm the happiest being on the planet. I don't care where you put me in hell, but make sure I can communicate with my loved ones and they know I can communicate with them and I can hear them. If I can do that, I ask for nothing else from this cosmos. Let it be known. Whoever could grant that wish, you have AZD.
That's his most fervent desire. Life is an acronym that stands for living inspirationally for eternity.
Wow.
Okay. WOW, by the way, stands for words of wisdom.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, here, we're going to finish up with 3 quick questions. Number 1, will you come back again?
Always, it'll be my honor to come back.
Thank you, dear sir. Number 2, I'm going to give you a hug in front of hundreds of thousands of people around the world. Are you ready?
I accept it.
I got to tell you what HUG stands for. HUG stands for heartfelt, unlimited giving.
Nice.
Heartfelt,
I felt that.
Unlimited giving. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Roar!
Thank you. That's nice.
To the joy of living with your humble host, Barry Shore. You tuned in. Remember, one reason only, because you care the most in the entire world about you. Y-O-U. When you're the best you make the world a better place. We have been visiting with one of the most dynamic beings on the planet today, AZD, amazing, zestful, determined being. I urge you to listen again and share this with at least 5 people. Go to my website, barryshore.com. All the information about him is there, and you want to utilize this, use this leverage in your life. And when you do, you'll be happier, healthier, and wealthier. Who doesn't want that? Use the 3 fundamentals of life. They are, number 1, life has purpose. As you heard from AZD, you lead a purpose-driven life. You can go mad like he is. MAD stands for make a difference. And number 3, unlock the power and the sequence of everyday words and terms, such as WWW, what a wonderful world. Smile, seeing miracles in life every day. Or as my 8-year-old niece says, seeing miracles in everyday life. Create the kind of world we want to live in. As he said, create his first tattoo. Causing rethinking, enabling all to excel. Use 4-letter words: love, life, hope, grow, free, give, pray, play, swim, and tell the world, F you. Remember to add capital N, have fun. That and allows people to have a conversation and tell people F you. Say, where'd you get that? Barry Shore wants to teach the world to F you. Capital N, capital N. Use the two most powerful words in the English language 3 times a day, consciously, conscientiously, and you'll change your reverberation and that of everybody around you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you to harmonize and network kindness. Thank you, wonderful AZD. And we're going to leave everybody with a blessing. You ready? Our blessing for the world is go forth, live exuberantly, spread the seeds of joy, happiness, peace, and love. Go mad. Go make a difference.